and welcome to Knitting Blooms. This is episode, I think it's 20, and it is Saturday, September 10th. Yes, September 10th. And we are having Knit Club at my house today, and these lovely ladies have so graciously let me have them on my podcast for the Podcaster Challenge as my special guest. So I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves and tell you what they are working on.
I'm Christine from Rochester Hills, Michigan, and I'm making the diagonal pattern baby blanket, which is basically the washcloth pattern modified for a baby's blanket. And as you can see, I've got a nasty skein of yarn that's giving me trouble, but I'm almost finished, so I'm trying to hang through.
And you had trouble with that yarn all the way through.
Yes, I did. And we've got a letter into the company, so we'll see what they do about it. So, but that's where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm Jennifer, and I'm actually crocheting another of the Mother Bear Project bears.
And Jennifer is the only one of these four ladies that actually watches the podcast.
I want to.
Well, what's happened you?
Computer issues.
I'm going to go home and watch now.
And I'm too busy. I'm Naomi, and I live in Troy, and I am making my first pair of slippers that need to be felted. And the only way I know how to cast on is long-tail cast on, so I'm having to try over and over again. So I'm starting to cast on for the outer sole. That's it for that.
Okay. Well, I'm Audrey. I live in Royal Oak, and I am knitting a scarf for the National World War II Museum down in New Orleans.
Awesome.
And
Wow,
I've seen
cool.
I've never been there. I've seen them online, and it looks like a really cool museum. So if I ever make it that far south, I'm going.
And what does the scarf do at the museum?
They give them to veterans.
Oh, nice.
And, World War II veterans are unfortunately dying off, so they're now giving them to any veteran who comes, or active service member who comes through to check out the museum.
Cool.
Neat.
And what did you get to use today for the very first time?
Oh, your winder thing. It's fun.
I told you you'd be addicted.
Yeah.
You'd have to have one.
And which company did you get that winder thing from?
I have no idea.
I don't know, but it was made in China. I noticed that.
Oh, I just thought we'd give a plug.
I got mine from Nitpicks.
There
I
you
got
go.
one
I
from
did.
Knit Picks
Yeah.
as well.
Me too.
I think
Nitpicks.
I don't know where I got mine from. I got it when I first started knitting. So
Could be Joann's, could be...
I don't think it was Joann's. I want to say I ordered it from somebody online, but I don't remember.
Well, I tried to get one at Joann's, and all you could get was the electric ones.
Oh.
Ooh,
yeah.
not
And I
good.
didn't want to spend that much money.
Yeah, because they were like $90.
Well, plus electric, wouldn't it wind it too tight and then you're really...
I think you can set the tension maybe.
Oh,
It seems fun.
yes, I'm
Christine in
fighting
that yarn. You want to show your bears?
with the bears.
The bears.
bears.
Tell me about these bears you're doing. Who are they for? Are they for like people in your family or?
No.
It's the mother. If you watch the podcast, you would know.
Okay, tell me now.
It's the Mother Bear Project. The Podcaster Challenge is going on right now, which is why you're host on the show.
Okay.
And a subcategory of the Podcaster Challenge is that we are knitting these bears for charity.
Ah.
And it's the Mother Bear Project, and they go to children with HIV and AIDS in developing countries.
Oh, how cool.
So there's a bunch of podcasters that are knitting them, and they're getting their viewers to knit them, and there's kind of like a challenge to see which podcaster can get the most bears knit.
Okay.
Yeah, or crochet, because Jennifer's crocheting hers.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And yours are knit, I take it.
Yes.
Yeah, those are mine.
These
Those are mine.
These are
Oh, okay.
Tina's.
She's holding them for me.
Yeah.
We're
I'm bear sitting.
bear sitting.
Bear sitting.
Where,
And I'm barely sitting. Oh.
where can you get patterns, or are you like doing them on the fly?
No, their pattern is from the motherbearproject.org.
Okay.
It's a pattern that you can only purchase on their website for $5.
Okay.
The $5 goes to the charity, and then you make the bear, and then when the bear is done, you ship the bear off to them, along with $3 to help with shipping the bears to other countries.
www.motherbearproject.org.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry. Can you show your bears? And can you show your psychedelic 70s bear?
The 1970s bear that's in the process. There's the half that's actually.
It's almost done. And I told her that she needed to make some bell bottoms on the pants.
Oh, that'd be great.
Groovy bears.
Very cute.
Well, these are cute.
They
Yeah,
are.
my son has already tried to steal them.
Aw.
Children friendly, so they could also work.
Do you want to show your bears
Sure,
and
I'll
talk
show
about
mine.
them?
Yeah, I haven't shown them yet because I worked on them last weekend, and I got this one done in a day, and
Okay.
I got this one done in a day, except for the skirt. The skirt took forever. Well, that and the fact that I didn't knit on it, but yeah, I was supposed to be knitting when I was playing Sims, and yeah, but I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with the skirt. The skirt wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, so I added more stitches so it had a little ruffle. It kind of looks cute. I'm not sure how I'll be doing the skirts in the future, but it came out cute. This one I did in the round, and this one I did flat. So,
Did you name them?
no. The child who gets it will name them.
Right.
So, what else did we want to talk about?
The stuff you bought?
Oh,
Or is that something different?
yeah, I'll do that as a separate segment because you guys, they got to see all the stuff I bought from Stitches because I'm kind of dealing it out slowly to you. They said, "Well, no, we need to see it all now."
So,
Audrey missed it.
I missed it. I came late.
She was here late.
but you'll watch the next podcast.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for podcast
And
21
should
or
go back
22.
a couple podcasts too.
Tina's
Yeah, I probably will.
purchases from, where was that?
Stitches Midwest.
Stitches Midwest. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
More to come.
Had lots of fun there.
Chicago.
Making us all jealous.
Mhm.
Wishing we were there.
Yes.
Had a
Oh,
lot
your
of fun.
bag?
My bag.
The one you're working on?
Yeah, I put that over there too. I could show it. All right, I'll pause it. Hold on.
One moment, please. She's getting one of her 300 other projects. We're convinced that Tina knits while she sleeps too, but we haven't told anybody
Hey,
that.
she can knit and read at the same time.
Yeah,
Why
I
not knit and
know.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oops.
I
Whoop.
know.
There goes the power. Okay, there we go. Okay. Here's my bag
Drum roll.
that I'm working on for the Podcaster Challenge. And I've got quite a bit of it done. I changed my mind about it a lot of times. Last week when I recorded, I only had like this much done. And now I have the front, the bottom, and part of the back. Originally, when I started it, I was thinking that I was going to start at the flap and work my way back around this way. But I didn't like how that big cable was going to land in the middle of the flap. So I changed it up and I decided that that was going to be the front. And so that's the front, and then the back will be exactly the same as the front. I've worked it out so that I started on the same rows for the back as I did for the front. Again, the way that the pattern is written for this is it's written to do separate pieces, and I didn't want to do that. I knit the bottom where the pattern doesn't call for the bottom because you're going to knit the strap and then sew it all together. Well, this way I have a double enforced bottom, which is always good. And so the back will be just like the front, and I'll work up, and then I'll work the flap on top of that. And I believe that the flap, I have to go back and look, but I'm not continuing the pattern over. I don't know. I've changed it, like I said, I've changed it like 3 times since I started knitting it, how it's going to work. What are you doing over there, Cuddy?
I can't take it anymore. I'm cutting, but I'm not knotting.
Yeah. We already heard that there's already knots in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm pretty sure that I'm just going to work up and over, but we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that I can get...
Christine, I have a little pair of scissors for you.
Well, this is more fun with plastic knives. Kind of a Rambo take
You
on
didn't want
it.
to cut yourself. You have to use a plastic knife because you
Why?
don't want to
Then
cut
we'll
yourself.
do a live emergency Oh, I'm done. Thanks.
Just in time.
Yep, I'm good.
But I'm hoping that I'll have this main cable on the flap, but we'll see how it works out. So that's coming right along. I was hoping that I would have this almost done for today so that I could block it and get the lining done before next week, but I don't think that's going to happen, which means that I'll have, hopefully by next week I'll have it completed and blocked, and then I'll still be able to do another podcast by the 22nd to show you my finished bag. So that's that, and I guess I'll just, well, I don't really have to do, I didn't do show notes because I wasn't thinking I would just do the whole show now, but
Where'd you get your bag from? I love that knitting bag.
I made this bag. See, if you watch the podcast,
you would know.
See, I've been told how much I'm missing.
I made this bag, and I actually have a tutorial.
Okay.
It's on the podcast. If you download the podcast or go to the blog, you can get the tutorial on how to make it.
Someday it's that work thing. It kind of gets in the way. But yes, I will.
And the mom thing and all.
Yeah, the mom thing.
Yeah. So I liked these, like I have a little bag like this. I got these little bags, and they weren't big enough to hold bigger projects, so I just designed a bigger one so I could put a bigger project in there.
That makes sense.
So, but I think that's it. Is Sammy still in the bag over there?
Yes.
Sammy crawled in the knitting bag, and I have a picture of her to show you on the podcast today, because she wanted to get in there and sleep, and she's still in the bag now, even after I had to move her to the floor.
So you know the saying, the cat's in the bag.
The cat's in the bag, right? So I think that's it, and I will come back in a little bit to show you the rest of my projects and to give you some more stash enhancement from Stitches Midwest. And I'll write up show notes, so if there's anything that I missed, I'll let you know. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, and I'm back. Actually, it's been a few hours since the ladies were here from club, and they have all left, and I'm here again by myself. I think I was more nervous than they were about recording the podcast with them. It was the first time that I ever had additional guests other than myself, other than the cats who don't speak and just kind of lay there. So it was kind of different for me, and I mentioned afterwards that maybe I need to have guests more often so I can feel a little bit more comfortable with having guests, because I felt, I don't know, I felt weird. I was like, I didn't want to do the whole podcast with them here, and so I didn't have all my stuff ready to go, because I figure they're not going to want to sit through 40 minutes. In fact, start. They're not going to want to sit through 40 minutes of podcast just while I sit in there and chat. So I didn't want to do the whole show with them here, so I just wanted to do some quick overview, and then it kind of went quicker than I thought it would go. So, but that's okay. I just have to get more comfortable with doing it that way, whereas when I'm just talking to you, I'm talking to myself, kind of. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to myself in the room. But anyway, it was fun. We had a great time at club, like we always do. We had a great bunch of people here today, and I had a little bit of enabling from Jennifer with, in fact, with the she told me about a program for the phone that plays, that I can get podcasts on my phone, and I thought that was quite interesting. So it's called Pocket Casts. Pocket Casts. 2 words. And now I can watch podcasts on my phone. Now, granted, I have an iPod, and I can watch podcasts on my iPod. I watch podcasts on Apple TV. I watch podcasts on my computer. I watch podcasts at work. I watch podcasts at home. I watch podcasts all over the place. But now I guess I need to have them on my phone too. So I downloaded a podcast. This is Mommy Needs Yarn. Thought you might like to see her shiny little face on my podcast. And that's on my phone. So that was kind of fun. She told me about that. She says I enable her to buy yarn. Oops. Now I don't know how to stop it. Let me turn it down all the way. So she says I enable her to buy yarn and knit projects, so she did some enabling of her own. Not only with this program, but also Sims on Facebook. I didn't know that Sims was on Facebook. I mean, there's a Sims on Facebook where you can talk about Sims on Facebook, but there's a game, a Facebook game. So I think that's going to be a big problem. And Michelle, I just started playing that Pioneerville, or what was it, Frontier Town? I don't know, whatever it was. You might lose me as a neighbor over there because I just started playing it just for a couple minutes just before before I just recorded this segment here, and I could be very addicted to Sims on Facebook. It could be a very bad thing. And by the way, Jennifer, I did friend you over there on The Sims, so you should see that on your end. So then we can be Sim neighbors on Facebook. If anybody else is playing Sims on Facebook, let me know. I'll be your friend, because I know it's going to take up time. So yeah, so we had a great day at club. I'm going to kind of go through a couple of my projects again. I'm not going to go through everything because really this week the only thing that I worked on was my bears and the Podcaster Challenge bag. My project for the Podcaster Challenge bag. And really, when this Podcaster Challenge thing started, I had every intention of knitting with 2 or 3 or more podcasters knitting their project. I'm struggling. I thought I heard something. Anyway, I'm struggling trying to get my project done. So I don't think I'll be knitting along with anybody else at this point. I would like to get at least 2 more bears done before the end of the challenge. And if I can't stay away from Sims, I see very little knitting time in my future. Although, my boss is going out of town for a couple of days, end of next week and the following week. So I potentially have some extra knitting time there. Doesn't always happen, but potentially I have some extra knitting time. Before he leaves, it'll be Stressomania. Hopefully, once he's gone, I'll have some extra knitting time. So I'm not going to talk about Bacardi. I did not do one stitch. Well, I'm talking about it. I'm not going to show it. I did not do one stitch on Bacardi this week or any of the other projects that I need to be working on. I said that I wasn't going to be doing any more knitting for hire anytime soon, but I'm probably going to take on another project, another quick project that needs to be done by the end of October. I don't have specifics on that right now. I'm going to try not to start it until after the Podcaster Challenge is done, because unless I get like really far ahead of where I would like to be at a certain point, I probably won't start that project till the end of the month. So, and then I have some other things that are coming in that I want to get started, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I'll talk more about those things when that time comes. So yeah, so nothing else got done. I did, however, remember last week I had the socks that I didn't like how they were turning out with the number of stitch count. I don't know if you saw earlier, but I tried to knit on this while we podcasted earlier. I guess I don't know how all the other podcasters stay on task and stay focused when they're knitting during the podcast. Now, most of the ones that knit during the podcast are 2-person podcast. So usually they're knitting when their co-host is talking. But I still found it hard, and I think I screwed something up. Maybe. I don't know. I have to check it out. But I did rip back both of the socks, and I rewound the balls.
I did this, I don't know, Thursday night? I think it was Thursday night. I don't like to leave, if I know I'm going to rip it back, I don't like to leave things too long in the knitting because the yarn gets all kinked up. Now usually, it is a little kinked up here. Usually if I have something that has been knitted for a while and I'm going to frog it, I will take it out, I'll reskein it and recondition the yarn, and then this is all wrapped up. It's driving me crazy. I'll recondition the yarn and then reknit it. However, this wasn't knitted that long, and I figure, yeah, it's a little squiggly at the ends or at the beginning. It's not that bad. I mean, really, it is a little bit, but it's not terribly bad. So I just am going ahead and I'm going to reknit them. The first time I did them, I started with, I want to say 13 stitches. The toe was pretty square, and not that I have a really pointy foot, but I think I prefer my socks to be a little pointy. I like my socks to be snug on my foot, so by having them pointy at the toes, they stay snug, more snug around my toes. So this time I cast on with 9 stitches, and I do plan on increasing to 27. So I ripped those out, and those are, that one is restarted. I haven't restarted the second one yet. Maybe I will this week, but like I said, with this podcaster challenge, unless I get way ahead of schedule, I think I'm going to pretty much stick with the bears and the podcaster challenge project. I already showed you my bears in the other part. These are the 2 that I did. I'm going to post them to the group this afternoon. I took pictures. I did not like how the skirt came out. If anybody has any suggestions on how to do the skirt, I think the next time I do a girl bear, I'm going to still knit it in the round, which is what I did here. But I'm going to, I think, I stuffed the legs as I went, and I stuffed the body and everything. So it was all stuffed when I picked up the skirt. I think what I'm going to do the next time is I'm going to knit the body up to just below the armholes. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to put the stitches, these stitches on waste yarn, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to knit the skirt before I continue up and before the body is stuffed, because I just really struggled with it. So I don't know if that's going to help. I mean, everybody knits skirts on their girl bears, and nobody else seems to have any problem. I don't know why I have such a problem with it. So that's what I'm planning on doing. My ears look kind of funky because I wasn't quite sure how to do it, and I can't remember who mentioned it on the Mother Bear thread, but they said that they do a running stitch for the diagonally for the ear and then just cinch it up. Well, hello, how easy is that? Why didn't I think of that? So I think I'm going to try that the next time. Also, the faces are hard. I don't know why I struggled so much. I did this one first, and it came okay. It came out okay. The one eye is a little wonky, and this one came out a little bit better, but I guess I like to be balanced on both sides. Not everything is balanced on both sides. I mean, I already know that I think one of my ears is higher than the other. So I know that, and the reason I know this is because whenever I get sunglasses or any kind of glasses that I wear, I have to skew them because they don't lay straight. They like kind of cockeyed on my face, so my husband's always like, why are your glasses crooked? Well, I think it's because one of my ears is lower. I don't remember which one. I think it's it must be the right ear is lower. Anyway, my glasses always sit cockeyed on my face unless I bend them so that they don't sit that way. So, I don't know why I worry about it being symmetrical on both sides, but I do. But they're still cute little faces, and I'm sure some little boy or girl is going to love having the bear. And even after the podcaster challenge, I think I'm going to be knitting these bears forever. Okay, so I bought the yarn for these bears. Okay, so here are my colors for these bears. I've barely broken in to this yarn. I did both bears the same color. I have a ton of yarn left. If anybody wants some yarn to make a bear, let me know. I'll send you some. So these are these colors. And then I had a bright idea last weekend after the podcast to go and buy more yarn. And so I bought all of this. Joann's was having a special buy one get one 50% off of all their yarns, and I'm like, well, oh wait, sorry, I didn't buy all of this because this one, I think, yeah, these three I already had. I bought these three when I bought this yarn. So technically, I didn't buy these three last week because I wanted different colored bears. So I have the, oops. So I have the light yarn, which is what I already did, and I've got yarn everywhere now. So I have the light one, which I already did. Then I have a dark bear, and then I have a really light cream color bear and a white bear. So I can have all sorts of different skin color or hair color bears. So I can have lots of variety. So those three, and then you can't have all the same clothes. So I bought red and blue and another blue and another blue and a gray and a green. These are all the boy colors, which can also be used for girl colors as well. Some of them. And then I bought a teal and a pink and a purple and another pink and another purple. So you think I'm going to be knitting bears for a while? Yeah. I can't wait till it's not like a race to see how many bears I can knit, because some of the bears that are being knit are so cute. Now I've got like fuzz in my mouth. There's Laura did the ballerina bear. There's so many cute little things that you can do to make them personalized. Earlier you saw Jennifer's bear. Well, we did talk her into putting bell bottoms on them, and I can't wait to see when that bear's done. And Christine said that we need to have, the next podcast needs to be the Mother Bear podcast and have all the bears from the hood. And I think that was a very cute idea. If I had enough creativity to do so many cute little things with the bears, I would actually try and knit the bears and then knit little leather jackets and stuff like that for them, because I think it would be totally adorable. Oh, my husband's singing and he's coming downstairs. So, recording. So anyway, so I'm going to be knitting lots and lots and lots. Oh, that'll work. My husband's bringing me here, bring it over here. Earlier we were trying to figure out a way how I could record my demos a little easier. And he's bringing me, I don't even know what this is, a little thing to hold the camera so that it comes down at an angle so it can be right over what I'm doing. So you can look for some cool new demos coming very soon, maybe even today. Okay, I'll try it out in a minute. Thanks, babe. Hey, my husband, he comes up with all kinds of great ideas. I was going to make him come and sit in the podcast. He told me that if I couldn't get the girls to, I told him if I couldn't get the girls to be my special guest on the podcast, that he was gonna have to be my special guest. And I don't think he was looking forward to that, because he said that this is what he was going to do if he was a special guest. And just sit so completely still the whole time. So, but I'm glad I didn't bother him, because now I've got, that's probably what he was outside working on when he was in the garage when I got started on this. So, like I said, I am going to I mentioned last week that I'm going to do a quick tutorial on cabling without a cable needle, and I hope to get that recorded tonight and maybe posted along with this episode today or tomorrow. So anyway, back to the bears. I'm going to be knitting lots of bears. I will be knitting bears long after the Podcaster Challenge is over. And one thing that we thought about today, if I'm going to knit all these bears, I'm going to go broke having to send these bears off and pay the $3 for the bear to be shipped. So what we thought about today is getting sponsorships and donations for the $3 for the bears to send them off to the Mother Bear Project. Because really, I probably could knit 6 more bears from just the colors that I have already started, and who knows how many more bears I can knit with all this other yarn. So what I'm going to do, if you do not have time or do not have the inclination to knit a bear or crochet a bear, I will take donations. And what I will do is you can say, I will donate $3 for the Mother Bear Project. And you can send it to my PayPal account, or you can do the donate on the blog. And I believe there's a way to put a comment on when you do the donation. If there's not, you can always contact me ahead of time to let me know that you're sending X number of dollars to be donated to the Mother Bear Project. And then what I will do is, when I knit a bear, I will put your name on the tag, because you're supposed to send the tags back, and I don't have my tags, with the bears. Now, they only send you one tag when you send the bear, but then they tell you they'll send you more so that you can keep sending more. So when I knit a bear, I will make sure that your name is designated on there. I don't know if we'll do both names because I knit it and yours because you donated the extra money, or what. We'll figure something out. But then this way you can also participate in the charity and help out without having to knit so many bears. So if you're interested, if you are so inclined to make a $3 donation to have the bear shipped, you can do that. You don't have to rush to do it anytime soon, because like I said, I'm going to be knitting these bears for some time. So whenever, it doesn't matter, but just make sure that you tell me that this money is earmarked specifically for the Mother Bear Project and not a donation for the podcast. Unless you want to send the money a different way, that's fine too. So yeah. So I thought that would be a good idea for ways for other people to get involved as well. I know a few people have been intimidated by the pattern. It's really not a difficult pattern. It may take a little bit of thought, and once you understand where they're going with the pattern, I don't think you'll have any problem with it. And we're all over on the threads, and I'm sure that all the other podcasters have threads open for questions and what have you about the pattern and how to do stuff and whatever. So there's probably 6 dozen people that are willing, probably even more than that, that are willing to help out and help you through a tough spot on the project. So don't think that this is too difficult of a project even for a beginner, because really, I knit my bears in stockinette. The pattern is written that you can knit it in stockinette, a combination of stockinette and garter stitch. You can do it any way you like. Any way you like. So don't feel intimidated. Don't let the fact that it's a knitted toy stop you. There are ways to knit the bear to make it easy. And even if you knit the pieces flat and you don't want to seam them up and you want to ship them off to somebody else to help you seam them up, I'm sure that we can find somebody that's willing to do that. So, if you're interested in joining along, post your bears on the thread. I think that right now Diane from the Knittables is in the lead, the last I checked, with the number of bears that have been posted. I can't remember how many she has, but really, all the podcasters doing this, the Mother Bear Project is going to be swarmed with bears from podcasters and the viewers of the podcasters. I think that is absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see how many total from all the podcasters and all the viewers, how many bears we knit. It's going to be amazing. I know it's going to be amazing. I hope we continue this through past just the podcaster challenge because I just think it's going to be absolutely amazing. So, that's about it. There was no spinning this week. Nope. Just like there was no knitting other than on the bears and on the podcaster challenge. No spinning. I am planning on joining Sarah, Rain Lover Knits, her spin along. Because when I did the Tour de Fleece, I was kind of motivated to spin a little bit every day. So I'm thinking that if I join Sarah's spin along, that I might at least be a little motivated every single day to do something. Something small, something, you know, it doesn't have to be much, just something that I can say that I spun a little bit every day. So I am going to plan on doing that. I don't know if I'm going to commit myself for the month of September, but definitely for October and beyond, because I think that will help keep me motivated. And I do want to do some kind, I know that Steve from Dramatic Knits is going to continue his stash down. His summer stash down is over. However, he is planning on doing a monthly stash down in the future. And I can't remember. I think he gave some details about it last week, but I couldn't remember if he finalized everything. I know that the summer was balls of yarn or skeins of yarn, but I think it's something slightly different for his ongoing stash down. I want to say, I don't know. I want to say it's projects, and he understands that one person might be knitting a sweater and the other person might be knitting a dishcloth, and they're totally different, but it's not about quantity of yardage or whatever. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on any of that. If you're interested in joining his stash down, go check out his podcast, because he'll have all the information over there. I have a hard enough time remembering my own stuff. Don't try and make me remember his stuff too. Okay, so I showed you my project, my podcaster challenge project, a little bit ago, but I forgot, because I was so nervous about having guests on the show, I forgot to tell you something about this project. You might notice that I do have stitch markers. Now really, do I need a stitch marker here? I can tell that that's where I change my colors, but I kept my stitch markers there. I have a stitch marker here because there's this section is one section, and then this is another section. Then I have my center section, and look, missing a stitch marker. Do you know that last weekend, I started this project on Saturday. I showed it to you Saturday evening with the podcast. And Saturday evening I had 4 or 5, maybe 6 rows done. I worked on it for a little bit Sunday morning, and in the, say, maybe about a span of an hour and a half to 2 hours that I worked on it Sunday before I started working on my first bear, I lost 6 purple stitch markers. I was sitting in the same chair. Every time I got to the color change, somehow I would flip off the stitch marker and not realize it. I kept having to put stitch markers on my needle. And the reason I know how many stitch markers I lost is because I don't have that many of these dark purple stitch markers in this size. I don't like, it's a smallish stitch marker. I don't like those big fat ones when I'm using small needles. I don't know why. I'm just weird that way. I only use the big fat ones if I'm using a larger needle. I use the smallest size stitch marker that I can use for the needle. I don't like the big ones. If I'm using a size 6, I do not want to use a stitch marker that will fit a 11 or greater, or 11 or smaller, whatever. So I want to use a size that fits maybe 7 or smaller, or 8 or smaller, not a size 15 needle. Anyway, so I had taken out all my stitch markers, and I don't know why I needed 2 dark purples and 2 light purples. I didn't need 2 dark purples and 2 light purples. I just wanted 2 dark purples and 2 light purples. So I kept putting the stitch markers on and putting the stitch markers on, and then finding out that I misplaced another one, and then finding out I misplaced another one. And I had on my table about 4 or 5 stitch markers, and I kept, oh, there goes another one. Now I probably could go upstairs and look on the floor and dig around and find them, but you know, those stitch markers, they just get up and roll away. And then when you have 5 cats, who knows where they are? I don't know. I have so many stitch markers, I don't think I really care where they went. I would just get another one. So yes, I'm using stitch markers. Yes, I keep losing them. And yes, I have lots of ends to weave in. I think I mentioned last time that I am using the green. When I started this project, I started it with the little butterfly for the green. And I'm still using the little butterfly. I started the little butterflies because I thought they were going to be smaller sections. And I didn't want 3 or 6 balls of yarn hanging off of my project. And I'm still using the little butterflies. When I do my demo for the cabling without a cable needle, I will do a little demo of how I make my little butterfly, because it is a center pull butterfly, and it's perfect because it kind of stays in there until you need it. When you need a little bit more, you pull a little bit more out, and it kind of stays tucked in there. So it's been working out perfectly for me, because when I get to that, I just kind of twist the yarn there at the pink and the green, and you can kind of see a little bit, if I stretch it out a little bit, how the colors are kind of twisting around one another in order to keep them together. Because if you don't twist them like that in intarsia, all you're doing is knitting 2 separate pieces of fabric, and then they're not going to be together. So it's coming along. At the beginning of Knit Club today, I was way down here. I only had like 1 or 2 rows into the back. Because as I mentioned, this is the part where I started. This is going to be the front. I did the bottom seed stitch, and then this is the back. And as you can see, the back and the front will be the same size, and I only have a few more rows. And I did check it out a little bit ago. The big medallion cable will be on the front flap. So it will work out perfectly. It'll come up and over, and the this will come up and over. So it comes up, and it actually, I can show you better on this side. This is the front, but the back will look the same. I have the back going the same, and then it will come up to here, and then this part is the same as this, and then it will come back through here again. Back through this, and then come up here, and I think it ends somewhere, it must end here for the front, which will be fine. All of a sudden I got a dry throat. I guess I've been talking a lot today. Anyway, I think the front flap will work out quite nicely. I think tomorrow I might go out and try and find some fabric so that I can line it. If I get extremely motivated this week, maybe I will try and get started on that. But I think I'll have to have the bag blocked and sewn together in order to kind of get my pattern ready for the lining. So it probably won't, unless I get the rest of this done today, which I doubt. I might finish the back, and I might get the flap started, but I really want to start another bear, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how far I get. But I probably will go out tomorrow and find some fabric just so that I have it, so I can get started on it as soon as I can get it going. But I will want to block this before I do that, and I'll block it. I'll probably block this part while I'm knitting the strap. And I've considered knitting the strap double, which means that the strap, I believe they ask you to knit a strap that is 60 inches. Cast on 8 stitches. Knit. Yes. Knit and seed stitch for 60 inches. That's a lot, which means I would have to knit 120 inches. But really, I think it would be better to have it very sturdy, because I don't want it to pull down the bag. I don't want the bag to get all wonky. That's one thing. If I'm going to have a bag, if I'm going to have a knitted bag and I'm going to put stuff in it, I want it to hold the stuff that I put in it, and I don't want the bag to be all cocked up because the straps aren't strong enough to hold what is in the bag. So I think I might knit it double, and then I might even knit it twice as wide, and then I don't have to knit, I only have to knit it still 60 inches, and then I can fold it in half. That's what I might do. I might have to run that through my brain a little bit more, a couple more times to see if that's what I want to do. But that's probably what I'll do. I'll know what I'm going to do before I get there, so you might not know what I'm going to do, but I will. So that's coming along. And actually, since the couple hours since I showed this to you, I think I did, I don't know, another inch or two since I showed it to you earlier. But it's coming along. I know it will be done for the challenge. Oops. So that's that project. What else? This week we received a donation from Plymouth Yarn for Knitopia, and we do still have a spot available in Knitopia. We have several spots for the midweek, and we still have one spot for each weekend, or a spot for the entire retreat. I know this retreat is going to be amazing. I'm already starting to think of ideas. The whole Mother Bear Project charity knit along for the podcaster has made me think about doing some kind of a charity knit along for the retreat. I'm probably going to take suggestions from the participants to find out, you know, if they have a specific charity that they would like to knit for, and maybe take a vote and see what people are interested in doing. I don't know if we'll do Afghan squares or what we'll do exactly. But I want something that's a small project that we can do either individually or as a group. If we're going to do Afghan squares, maybe we can do Afghan squares and then, you know, sew them up together. Or we can do something like the Mother Bear project. I don't know yet. I'm going to kind of take votes from people what we want to do, but I will try and do some kind of a charity knit along or something with Knitopia for 2012. And I'm already starting to brainstorm games and contests and that sort of thing, which is really, we didn't really have that last year or years past because I had so much to think about by doing it, that by doing the event in itself, that I really didn't think about those kind of things. So now that I've done the retreat and there's certain things that I kind of do like clockwork, I can start thinking about other things like that. And plus going to Stitches Midwest, there's a lot of things that I saw taking place at Stitches Midwest that really got my brain flowing and that sort of thing. So there's going to be a lot of different new things that we're going to be doing at Knitopia this year that we didn't do in years past. So that's about all, except for I'm going to show you a couple of more things that I purchased at Stitches Midwest. Like I mentioned earlier, the girls from club could not wait for the podcast to see everything I got, so they got a sneak peek of the rest of the stuff. Now, I'm still going to show a couple things each week because really, I kind of like to go back through the things I bought. You know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, and I can re-enjoy the joy of purchasing them at that time. Whereas if I showed them all at once and I took pictures and I stashed them in my cabinet, I can look at them, but I like to relive the joy of buying them. So, I'm going to show you what I got. This one, I got a whole bag of silky wool, which is really my favorite, one of my favorite yarns. I've only made one sweater with this yarn, but I love that sweater. I have yarn for another sweater that I'm going to make with that yarn. And now I have yarn for yet another sweater. And this yarn is 45% wool, 35% silk, and 20% nylon. And it is a lightweight yarn. I like a lighter weight sweater. I do have some heavier sweaters in like a heavy worsted, or like, I guess, does Aran weight come after worsted? But I don't like much heavier than that. I guess because I get hot, and unless I know I'm going to be outside, I don't want to have a heavy sweater because I don't want to be sweating in it. So at least with a lighter sweater, I know even a lighter wool sweater will keep you warm. Heck, my wool shawls keep me warm. I had a couple of shawls when I was at Stitches, and just putting my shawl around my shoulders did wonders for keeping me warm. It was amazing. So if you don't knit shawls because you don't think that, what's the point of knitting shawls? They're not all about just fashion. They definitely keep you warm. This week we had some high 50s and 60-degree weather, and I wore a shawl to work almost every day this week, and I loved it. This was really the first time other than Stitches in the air conditioner, that I got to wear my shawls, because the first shawl that I finished was sometime since the podcast in May, and who's going to be wearing a shawl in hot summer temperatures? So anyway, don't let shawls scare you away, because they aren't just fashion. So anyway, I have enough yarn. I think this is more than enough, because I'm pretty sure that I only need about 8 skeins of silky wool to do a long sleeve sweater. Because let's see how many yards is in there. Yeah, 175 meters, so that's close to 200 yards. So yeah, I don't think I need 10 skeins, but I have 10 skeins. I'll figure something out if I have extra, or I'll give it away. The other yarn that I got, this one I can't remember what the name of the booth was, but it was a bin. They just had a huge bin of all this yarn, all these bag yarns. And oh my gosh, people were going crazy over it. Grabbing and digging, and oh, it was crazy. I just kind of stood there and watched, and then when I saw something that if somebody just kind of tossed it aside, I quickly grabbed it up. But this is the only thing I bought. But really, I think this was like $110 for the 10 skeins, and I think I paid $54, like half price. Unreal. So that's that. And then this one I got from Webs. This is Water Lily by Classic Elite Yarns. It is 100% fine merino, extra fine merino. There is 100 yards in each 50-gram ball, and it's supposed to be knit up on a size 8. And again, I got 10 balls, about 1,000 yards. That, I can make a short sleeve sweater with that. I could probably make a short sleeve sweater with less than 1,000 yards, but definitely a nice short sleeve sweater with this. And it's kind of, I'm not going to take it out of the bag, although I'm probably going to have to take it out of the bag to put it in my cabinets. Yeah, I'm just going to take it out real quick so I can show you. But it's kind of variegated a little bit. It's really, really cool. And I don't know if there's another one that you can see it a little bit better, but it is a very, very cool thing. And it's pink, and I like the variegation like that. So that'll be fun. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with it yet, but it will probably definitely be a short sleeve sweater, or maybe a worsted weight shawl. And then the last thing I'm going to show you today is this cone that I also purchased from Webs, and it is a alpaca and silk blend. I want to say it's an 80-20, and I looked at their website, and I believe there's like 1,500 to 1,700 yards on this cone. So that's a lot of yarn, and it's an eggplant colorway. It's a lace weight yarn. It's definitely going to be some sort of shawl. I don't know what. It was a really good price, so I could not pass that up. So that's the last thing. I still have, if I showed you 3 things for the next few weeks, I still have a few more weeks to show you. So no worries there. But it is fun to relive what I've purchased slowly, because like Tammy from the Proverbial Knitter said, she can't remember what she bought. You're going so quickly through those markets, and it's hard to remember what you bought unless you pull out everything and look at it over and over again. So I can understand that, Tammy. I really can, and although I remember purchasing everything that I purchased, it's still fun to go back and relive finding that particular yarn or that colorway and deciding that that's what you're going to purchase. So I'm having fun with that. So now I think that's about it. I'm at 45 minutes right now, and I think we had about 13 minutes already, so I think this is going to be close to an hour anyway. So I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to try and record that tutorial in just a little bit, and hopefully you'll have a tutorial and a new episode by the morning. And I will talk to you later. And I'm trying to come up with a new tagline for the podcast. All the other podcasts, they have something at the end of their podcast, like, I hope you get to knit one more row, or I don't know. Different podcasters say different things. So I'm not sure what my tagline's going to be, but we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I think it's going to be hope you're knitting blooms. How's that for you? Anyway, I will talk to you again next week, when hopefully I will have all of the knitting done on my Podcaster Challenge project, and at least one more bear. Hopefully 2, but at least one more. So that's all for now. Bye.